Hi, good morning. I'm Katie Kempner, and we're here at Advertising Week Europe, and this is an episode of Perspectives. Perspectives is an online show and a series of conversations with remarkable working women who are balancing busy lives. And it is my pleasure to have my first guest this morning, Clare McDonald, who is partner and ECD at Rosetta. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for stopping by. So I understand your position at Rosetta is relatively new. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. So I joined a few weeks ago. So Rosetta is a large American agency who have got four kind of key strands of strengths: consultancy, strategy, tech, and creative. And the idea is to bring that great insight into Europe and really land some great clients, develop it, and do great things with big data. So I'm super excited.
And before that, you were?
So before that, for a huge part of my career, I was in television. So I was ECD at Sky, led a lot of the big rebrands, promos, launched Sky Atlantic, Sky Movies, as well as digital propositions and looking at iPad, mobile devices. Before that, I was in interactive TV, so I was really interested in two-way conversations about TV. And then before that, fashion. So I started in menswear and fashion and was totally unwearable. So quickly moved into digital.
Now, throughout your career, one of the things that I'm most interested in is in how women like you that are very busy and very successful are able to manage their lives. Manage, balance, juggle. I find different women like different words, but I know you have 3 kids.
Yeah.
And a very busy life.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about that and how you integrate your personal life and your professional life?
Sure. I mean, I'll give you a bit of context. So I come from a very big family. So I always watched my mum like multitask and kind of you had pockets of when it was your time and then someone else's time. And I think that gave me a great foundation to know that you could do many things. And she would be the first to admit, I've done that bit badly, or I forgot about him, or he didn't get his trainers to school, and so you quickly gained a perspective. So I think from that kind of grounding, what it taught me is to write a lot of lists, and I try and finish them every day. And so just as a kind of general rule, how I've coped during my career is writing lots of lists, and just having a healthy perspective that I can't do everything brilliantly, but I'm good, and that's why I'm here. So be okay with that, and and with children, they just accept, they don't know a mummy that's any different, which is good. And so they accept the good bits and the bad bits.
I think a problem a lot of women have, and I'm definitely been guilty of this over time, is that they feel a lot of guilt. You know, it's like they feel guilt if they're not doing something with their kids, but then at the same time they feel guilt if they're not in the office or doing something with their business. It sounds like you've been able to figure out a way not to feel that too much.
I've never felt guilty. I mean, I've wondered what's the problem, like why am I not feeling guilty, but I haven't, because I know that, and they know, that ultimately everything I'm doing is for them, and everything I'm doing is, to help make their lives better and for them to have good examples. But, I only once missed a costume day at school, which traumatized my son. So I was like, right, that's never going to happen again. And that made me feel awful, but I didn't feel guilty.
I have a question. I noticed when you walked in, we had a little discussion, you have on fabulous shoes.
Thank you.
Very fabulous. But you said something interesting about, that you started wearing terrific shoes early on in your career. I thought that was interesting, being like, could you tell us that story?
Again, there's partly my background, but also there was a moment that happened where, I came from fashion, so obviously like fashion, and when you're over a certain size, there's certain accessories that you can do and certain ones you can't. And I was going into this meeting at the start of my career in TV, and it was a very male meeting. It was a sports meeting, actually. And I walked in the door, and I think one of the senior guys realised I was a little bit nervous, and it was slightly intimidating. And he quickly said to me, "Oh my goodness, you've got great shoes on." And I just remember kind of being like, oh my goodness, he's human, he's noticed my shoes and da-da-da. And so as a kind of joke, but also me picking up on this, every time I went for a meeting with this particular guy, I would make sure I had decent shoes on or something interesting that would start the conversation. And every time we would pick up on it, and he would say, what is she wearing today? Let me have a look. And it was a little bit of a brand. It made me realise that, okay, I do love shoes. This can be a little bit of, something that can break the ice. And it did, and in that context with these guys, it really helped. And so that then became a habit and an obsession. And and it was great of him to do that, actually.
Here at Advertising Week, I've noticed there are a lot of women, but when you go into the sessions, I moderated a session yesterday, and when I was looking out in the audience, I noticed that it were mostly men that were there. And, it seems to me still here, this is much more of a male-dominated industry. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, and I don't really truly understand why it is. Okay, so it is, and weirdly, when I came in this morning, I was asking the chap at the desk, like, what's the percentage of men here? Because I could spot like 2 women, and I was thinking this doesn't make sense. I'm not sure. I think a lot of it is there's still a lot of the old network. There's still a lot of men at the top, and I don't think men deliberately hire men. I just think they see a strength and an aggression and whatever that behaviour is that men that look strong and powerful have that women don't by default,
Yeah.
And so I think maybe it could partly be that. I definitely don't see enough women coming up the ranks. So in terms of creatives in particular, there's still nowhere near enough female ECDs, which makes me wonder where are the female CDs and what's the barrier. And is it the women ourselves? Are we stopping ourselves? I mean, I know this might be going off piece, but the amount of women I know who are very senior that have so much self-doubt, that actually hold themselves back, that don't go for the job because they think, I shouldn't, I can't, I'm not good enough. I wonder if it's that as well, but it is interesting here. I think tech in particular is still very, very male.
So what do you think needs to be done?
I mean, me personally, what I'm doing is mentoring. I think the more mentors, I was very blessed when I was at Sky. There was 2 really good women, one Sarah Myers who heads up talent and another one Sophie Turner-Lang who heads up content, who really, really pushed mentoring. And that not only gives you a network across companies, but also gives you a network that you can lean on and get advice. And so for me, it's about mentoring women mid-career to really go for it. Take risks. I think guys are inherently born with this ability to take risks.
Yeah.
And we don't. And me with my lists, I plan all the time. And I think sometimes it's good to just go, take a punt, let's gamble, let's see if I can get that role.
Yeah.
And so with mentoring, I think it's a hugely great thing to do. It helped me so much.
You just actually gave a piece of advice in taking risks, which is a great piece of advice. But I really like to end my interviews by just asking if you have one piece of advice, what is it?
Okay, it's a weird one, but it really works for me. A mentor of mine, Sarah Myers actually, told me to draw what I wanted. Draw a journey of where you want to get to. And it might sound strange, but I drew this journey. And it had where I was today, where I wanted to go, and the dream. And I just kept that on my wall. And every couple of months I would plot where I was on my journey. And sometimes if I wasn't kind of moving quick enough up that journey in terms of time plan, I'd have to fast track it. And whether she knew that she was giving me this gem, that was the best piece of advice I've ever been given, and I give it to everyone. Draw, visualize it, and if you visualize it, then you can really make it happen.
That's fantastic.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Help
thank
me.
you.
Thank you. Lovely to meet you.
Great to meet you too. Thank you.
Thank you.